Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Weekly Money. Before we jump into this week's content, whether you're hauling loads already, preparing to get started, or you're just finding out about this hotshot trucking industry and you're just kicking tires, I've put together a really quick step-by-step instructional video at the end of this episode showing the factoring company I use, the free fuel card, the free month of DAT Loadboard access, and the ELD provider I use, and also the one that most of my drivers use, and how to sign up with them if you so choose to. In the meantime, let's get started with this week's episode. This week's tip is for everybody asking themselves, how in the world do I learn how to secure stuff properly so it doesn't slide off my trailer and I don't kill half a highway? So you probably started the same way I did. I never hauled anything, never even owned a pickup truck, never drove a dually, never towed a 32-foot trailer in my life. So I watched a lot of YouTube, and there were some resources that I found out after the fact that teach you how to secure things. I'm gonna list those here. They're also underneath this video in the comment section and the description section, but here they are. I am not gonna lie to you and tell you that I took these courses or read these books and that's how I learned how to secure things. That is not what I did. What I did is what I'm advising you not to do. I basically watched a bunch of YouTube videos, bought a truck, bought a trailer, hit the road, and learned it as I went along. Not the best way to do things, not the safest way to do things. After doing that, though, I did come across these books and this course, so I'm sharing them with you so that you can be better than me. United Rentals is a place that ships a lot of all kinds of equipment. They have a lot of different trainings on a lot of different subjects and machinery and safety policies, you name it. Check out their website. Just, look up United Rentals. I'm sure on their site you'll see a link or a drop down somewhere that'll take you to what part of their site shows all their education. But one of the things I found there after moving loads for them a lot of times was that they have a securement course. So it's a video, it's $35 or $32 or something. Check it out. It's better than a book because it's a video and somebody's actually talking to you. And if you like videos, obviously you do because you're on YouTube, you may want to check that out. Next are two handbooks. This is the most expensive out of both of them. This one's $11 on Amazon. And by the way, the links are also below this video, comment section, description section. What I like about this, though, is I like the binding. You can just flip the pages really easily. And more importantly, it was published by J.J. Keller. They are a major big rig operation. They know their stuff. So this is something good to have as a handbook in your truck whenever you have questions, especially when you're starting out. The second handbook is even more specific, but even cheaper. Go figure. This one zeroes in on cargo securement for flatbeds. And if you're a hotshot, you're just a mini version of a flatbed. So this one is really, really specific, a lot less expensive. The links are also below this video and also in the comment description sections. You can grab it. They're really good to have in your pocket and your hand before you hit the road, and especially once you're on the road. Because if you need help while you're out there, you can't phone a friend. You really got to have this in your truck so you can refer to it. So they're really good reference manuals. All right, let's jump into the money. And speaking of money, let's talk about it from two different perspectives. One, I'll open up the dispatcher side of my brain and share with you some things about Texas. Oh, Texas, the Lone Star State. And then secondly, I want to jump to the other side of the fence and approach the subject of money from a driver's perspective, and we'll really dig into the expenses you should expect to have in your new business. As an individual, I don't know anything about the state of Texas. I've never been to Texas, and I'm not going to front like I do know about it. What little I do know about Texas, though, is not even as a driver, again, because I've never been there, but from the handful of drivers that I've dispatched for, I actually still dispatch for two of them, that are based out of Texas. These guys are still based out of the Houston area. And I've learned a couple things, like Texas is massive. It'll take you 8 hours, at least 8 hours to cross the state from Houston to Odessa. Never mind going all the way over to El Paso, which is underneath New Mexico. Same goes if you're trying to cross the state from north to south, like from Lubbock to Corpus Christi, and you can still go further south or further north, but that also will take you at least 8 hours. So if you're based out of Texas and you think you can run freight and be home every night, yeah, no. As you may know, Texas is known for oil production, and a lot of the hotshots that are based in Texas or that dropped loads into Texas and ran around and made a couple dollars, they all made their money moving around oil equipment or oil field equipment back and forth because that's what the state is known for. However, oil is down tremendously right now. I mean, if you listen to this in like 2030 or 2040, that may not be the case. But as of 2021, oil is down tremendously in the state of Texas, and therefore, there's not a lot for hotshots to move around. Not to mention, there's 1,000,001 hotshotters based out of the state of Texas. So when you look at the competition in Texas among hotshot drivers, and also the fact that the main source of freight loads is pretty much gone right now. You end up with minimal loads hitting the load boards, a lot of people going after them. People are desperate because they have bills to pay, so they drive the price down. People are moving a lot of cheap freight, and that doesn't really work for anybody. The only way to really make money in Texas, in my experience, dispatching 7 drivers, is to not even bother calling on loads that are going from Texas to Texas. By the time you call, you're on hold 20 minutes because there's a million people calling at once. What I do for my guys is we book in Texas if we can, going out into deeper waters where there's other loads that we can pick and drop. Unless you or a dispatcher you know of have really good relationships with a freight broker or a direct shipper that has consistent loads within Texas, I would say give yourself at least 2 weeks on the open road so you can come back to Texas with some decent money. And this is exactly what me and one of my guys did last week. Monday was a holiday, but he was still able to drop a load that brought him back into Texas, which paid really well, which is why we went back to begin with. But then nothing was able to load until Tuesday. So we were able to load 2 loads on Tuesday, but it took us all the way until Thursday morning to arrive at the drop for these. So most of the week went, and this is just because we started off in Texas. Now, guys, this is serious business because this will impact how much money you make in a week when you're leaving from Texas or starting out from Texas. Now, I didn't just watch 10 other YouTube videos on 10 other channels and repackage it and then throw it back up on you on my channel. This is what I do every single day. So I kind of know what I'm talking about here. I'm by no means the dispatching guru, though. So if you're doing really well within Texas or going out of Texas, let us know that you are. Or if you want to share even more, let us know somewhat of how it's working out for you or what's working out for you. I'd love to learn from you, and I'm sure this whole community would too. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you're thinking, man, I need more about this dispatching info, this is really the basis of the course I'm creating, which I hope to have out in February 2021, maybe towards the end of the month, called Money, Money, Money. There's a waiting list form on my website. Here it is on the screen. Get your name on that announcement list so I can give you a heads up before I make it available to the public. Which brings me to part 4 of this cash flow series we've been doing. We spent the first 2 weeks laying out what kind of capital, what kind of startup money you need to start your own hotshot trucking business. And then last week we went over the kind of income you can expect to make, the kind of income potential you can have. Now let's talk about the other side of the coin. Let's talk about the expenses you should expect to have, because income minus expenses equals profit. Those 3 components, that formula right there, that is cash flow. And you need to know what your cash flow is going to be before you go ahead and jump into this industry. Or at least if you're already in it, you want to know these numbers, know this equation so you can, run your ship a little tighter. Now, these expenses will vary based on what state you live in, what your credit scores are like, and what your driving record's like. So nobody's expenses are going to be exactly the same. These are my expenses, so let's go over them. My truck payment is just under $1,000 a month. My trailer's $350 a month. My insurance, my personal insurance policy is about $1,200 a month. Most of my drivers pay between $1,200 and $1,700. There's some states out there that have insane insurance rates, commercial insurance rates, but it is what it is. Storing your trailer, you may be able to get away with this if you have a place to store it, big enough yard, whatever. Otherwise, I pay $100. Fuel. If you're driving about 400 miles a day, 2,000 miles a week, you're going to spend about $600 a week. That's $2,500 a month, give or take a few, in fuel. That's just the way it's going to work out. Now, dispatching is a little different for everyone. I personally am one of the most expensive dispatchers out there when I charge 20% for new guys that are hitting the road. But that's because in addition to finding loads for you and doing all the paperwork and all that, which every dispatcher does, I also mentor everybody and hold your hand, getting you from not knowing anything to getting you running proficiently and professionally and successfully on the road. That's why I charge so much. If you don't like it, that's fine. But most dispatchers charge between 10 and 15% to help you find loads and do all your paperwork. Because they charge so little, they have to have 10, 20, 30 drivers assigned to them in order to make a living and, cover expenses and make a living, which means that you as a driver are not getting the attention you need because it's not a small, I call it a boutique outfit, a small little outfit, a small operation. My operation maxes out at 7 people. Everybody gets undivided attention. Everybody gets phone calls throughout the day, text messages throughout the day, responses. Everybody's loaded. Everybody's moving. So you may pay less to go with a bigger company, but you may end up making less money sitting around burning fuel trying to stay warm or AC trying to stay cool in your truck, neither of which are making you money. And this is the main reason why I'm creating my Money, Money, Money course, a dispatching course that also shows you how to operate every day on the road so you can learn how to do this yourself and save the dispatching expense every month. But for the sake of argument, let's say you found a really good dispatcher that keeps you moving and only charges you 10%. You're now looking at a monthly dispatching expense of about $1,600 a month. And that's where you should be because you should be hauling about $15,000 worth of loads a month. Listen to me closely here, guys. So add up these expenses for yourself and you'll see you're talking about a $7,000 nut every month. That breaks down to roughly $1,700 a week to keep your business up and running, which isn't bad considering that your cheapest load is about $400, all the way up to maybe $1,000 or $1,500. So it may take you up to a day or two to cover your weekly expenses, up until maybe one day to cover your weekly expenses. With that said, here I'm blending the income potential from last week and the expenses I just laid out from this week to show you what your potential profits could be in this industry. And these are real numbers based on me running the road and the 7 drivers that I dispatch for running the road every week in, week out, month in, month out. Now, this is all based on you being the sole driver of your company. Next week, I'm going to talk about scaling your business, how you can grow from one driver to more drivers, and also what other things you can do in this industry to earn a living beyond just sitting in the driver's seat. Gotta go. Here's some resources to help you get started, guys. Aside from knowing how to operate each and every single day, these are the 4 main resources required to make money, save money, and be in compliance on the road. I've used each one of these companies since my first day on the road. I still pay for the memberships, and all my drivers that I dispatch for are also successfully using them every day. Feel free to try out any other company you want, but I stick with these guys because their services work, and I like things that work. I don't like headaches. So why are these important? And then I'll show you how to sign up for them. First, Loadboard access. The DAT Loadboard is one of the 2 major load boards. It makes sense to see what loads are moving around you before you go out and buy a truck and trailer. And commercial insurance. I cannot say that enough. I say it in almost every single video. All load boards are membership based. This link gives you the first 30 days for free of your membership. As for factoring, I'm still signed up with the same company I've used since day one, and everybody I dispatch for is also signed up with them for one main reason, because I can help them if they have any questions along the way. I'm familiar with the company. I'm familiar with the app. I have a really good contact inside the company should you have any issues. You can go with whoever you want to for factoring, but if you'd like me to help you out, I have a link coming up for the factoring company that I'm with so that I can help you, again, if you have any questions or issues along the way. Same goes for the fuel card that I use. It's offered by the factoring company that I work with, but even if you are not signed up with them or choose not to sign up with them, you can still gain access to this free fuel card. You can put money on the fuel card and swipe at the pump for diesel as you go, or if you do choose to factor with them, they'll extend you a credit line and you basically fuel up all week and pay it next week from the loads that you ran last week. You're required to have an electronic login device on board, otherwise known as an ELD. I use Keep Trucking for my electronic login device. I always have, I always will, because they're a major company. I didn't want to deal with some rinky-dink startup somewhere that's trying to get their act together and learn the business. These guys are leaders of the pack, and I'm all about that. The hardware works, the software works. If you have a fleet of trucks now, or that's your goal, it's expandable so you can monitor all your trucks that are on the road. They keep up to date with our service regulation changes, and their video tutorials and articles are great as far as wanting to learn and understand all the behind the scenes of an ELD. Plus, it doesn't hurt that if you use my link, you get a $100 Visa gift card to use on whatever you want. I get one too, which I appreciate. If you don't want me to get a Visa gift card and you don't want one either, then go online and sign up for Keep Trucking on your own. But if you do want that, then I'm gonna give you a link to use. All right, now let me show you how to sign up for these. All right, so you can research the web, blogs, forums, read a million comments, or you could just have me send you a link. I'm giving you 4 ways to get links to the services I just talked about. Just go with whatever way works best for you. First, you can email me and say, hey, send me your factoring link, your ELD link, the 30 days free of DAT Loadboard access link, or the link to your free course, and I'll send it right out to you. I'll also put each link up on the screen in a few seconds here. They're not hyperlinks, so you can't click on them, but you could just type them into the Google search bar or whatever search bar you use, and it'll take you to where you can sign up. If you're impatient like me, you want things yesterday, the fastest way is to just go to the comments or description section on the YouTube video you're watching right now. Just click right where you see either one of these 2 fingers pointing, and that'll open up the comment or description section where you can click on whatever links you want and be on your merry way. When you click on my DAT link, the first thing you'll do is choose a subscription level you want. It doesn't matter which one you choose, but this is a subscription though. So your first 30 days are free, and then they'll charge you every month. You can cancel after your first 30 days, but if you're really gonna get on the road, wouldn't you really want to see what live loads are around you? And if you're in a dry area or a really robust, bubbling area for loads? I do everything on my phone, and the screen you're seeing is the screen you're going to see if you click on the link on your phone. And the red box is showing that it says you need a DOT number and a credit card. Yes, you need a credit card or a debit card because this is a subscription, but you do not need a DOT number. They just haven't updated their website. Next, create a username and password, and after that, select your authority type. If you have a DOT or MC number, put it in. If you don't, then choose no DOT, no MC number. You're a carrier who's going to dispatch for themselves, so select carrier dispatcher from the type box, then put in your company name, and that's it. The next few screens are self-explanatory, and you'll be looking at live loads in a few. Factoring is how you get paid when you deliver a load. Here's some of the reasons why I chose my factoring company when I was starting out. Plus, they're a major company and I've had no issues so far, and neither have any of the drivers that I dispatch for. Click my link, enter your contact information, and they'll reach out to answer any questions you have and explain how their fuel card and factoring services work. If you don't have an MC number yet, no worries, it's not required anyway. They'll still reach out to you and get you all set up. It's just one less thing you have to do later on. This is the screen you'll see when you click my link for an ELD provider. I've used Keep Truckin from the beginning and it's still connected in my truck. Their 24/7 customer service is actually helpful. Plus you can add a dash cam and Wi-Fi service that does not give out when you're in the middle of nowhere. The discount they refer to is their way of saying they're gonna send you a $100 Visa gift card once you order your hardware. And if you don't receive your gift card within a week, let me know in an email. I have a really good contact person within the company. If you're on YouTube, you'll find links to my 3 video trainings in the comments and description sections. And if you're already on my website, just scroll down.